All right, everybody. This is the pilot of the A Little Bit More podcast.
Yes, sir.
I'm Cody Wilburn. I'm the head host for the podcast. I guess we'll go through and we'll kind of do like introductions. I'm a student assistant coach for football at Barton College. I'm from Raleigh, born and raised. I'm a big Raleigh guy, and I'm excited to be doing this. This has been a long time coming. For those of you that know me, I had a podcast in high school that was a lot, it was closer to sports, stuff like that. But this is going to be a lot more open and casual and fun and stuff like that. So I'm with my fellow hosts. We're going to rotate hosts with this thing throughout. It's going to be me, Avery. Avery Garner's in here. Julian, we got Big Juju.
Yes, sir.
Julian Long the fourth.
Yes, sir.
And Tyler Griffin. So,
What's up?
AG, go ahead and say something.
What's up? My name's Avery. I play football. I play linebacker. I like to add ski to the end of things. I took the whip ski to this pod. But,
He's been on this wave lately of like adding ski to things, and we don't know how to take
and
it.
it's spreading.
Well, yeah.
In my household.
They started making it's kind of started off as a joke, but now like I just do it unintentionally. But yeah, I'm looking forward to doing this with the boys. It was C. Willie's idea, but I'm glad to be included on it.
C. Willie, that's crazy.
So
I
yeah.
haven't heard that one since high school.
Shoot, I'm Julian Long. I played football here for 2 years, linebacker mostly. I'm actually coming back to ECU, my hometown, Greenville. That's where I was born and raised.
252.
Yes, sir. Big 252, man. And a fun fact about me is I'm a comedian, but only in this house. So,
For real.
Oh, I forgot to tell you. I'm a small town boy. I'm from Denton, North Carolina. So. Yeah.
What's the area code for Denton?
336.
I didn't know if they even had an area code.
I took chill, bro. I took Big G Man down to Denton.
yes, sir. Quite the experience.
That's
The
it.
sunsets over there are something to see.
Crazy.
Them hills,
Yes.
man.
All right, TG.
Well, anyway, 919 boys.
Let's
Dap
go.
up my boy Cody real quick. If you go over in North Carolina, Raleigh area, same as Cody. My name is Tyler Griffin. I play wideout at Barton as well. And, also call me TG. That's what my boys call me here. And, pretty much it. What?
It's just like I'm like Tyler and I have known each other forever since we were like 11, 12, something
He
like
was
that.
my 7-on-7 coach at Framework. Shout out Coach Arias.
Shout out to Arias.
Shout out Coach
I would
Arias.
not be where I'm at right now if it was not for Arias more. He is an amazing guy. Shout out TJ Graham too. TJ, who are the other guys we had on there? Chris Love. Yeah, he was awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Let me think. Who else?
LJ Scott.
LJ.
Coach Scott.
Shout out to LJ. He needs to text me. I need to text him, find out where he's at.
Me and Drew over here have no idea who these people are.
They're the goats. They're the goats.
Hey,
That's
man,
who they are.
7-on-7 coaches, man.
Yeah, awesome.
Was
That was a
you-
fun time, man. It really was.
I like the traveling. It was fun.
Me and Avery are the far ends of the North Carolina side.
Yeah,
So,
opposites.
Avery was a high school quarterback. So, like, what was that experience like for you growing up? You kind of the man coming from a small town.
Okay, definitely far from the man.
No, you were the man.
It's kind
This
of-
is the only guy I've ever known to say, yeah, I won homecoming king. Like, I was the high school quarterback. Like, whatever. But I'm not the man. Like,
well, it's kind of easy to win those things when your graduating class has 73 people in it. So,
Hey, he was the man at Denton.
it's not
Prom king.
No, bro, that does not matter. But I'm flattered. But I mean, it was fun. It's a cool place to grow up for the most part.
how far was the closest Walmart to where you were at?
Good 30.
Did you have to take like horse and buggy to get to it, or what?
Buggy.
It's not that bad, man. It's just it's just a small town near the lake. It's really fun in the summers. Shout out Timmy. We'll spend a lot of time at his crib.
We need to get Timmy on the pod.
For sure.
This is a good internal pod session.
Facts.
Got to get Timmy out here.
Hey,
And
man,
Birdman.
come down.
Birdman for sure.
Bro, come down to the big D
A
town.
traveling pod?
Down to D town.
Might have to do it. We might have to do it. Everybody link back up.
We're
And
taking
get
a little bit more local.
Yeah, for
Or
sure.
local to
I'm
local.
down. If y'all saw the sunsets out there, y'all would be up
I
there.
feel like y'all are hyping it up too much. Like Denton's nothing. I mean, it's cool.
Hey, you hype it up a lot to me.
I mean,
Beg me to come.
yeah.
Okay.
Hey, we're
I'm
the
gonna
city,
come.
we're the city boys. When we
Yeah.
go out somewhere
Yeah.
different, where there's
Well,
some
me and
hills
Cody from the
nature,
919, you gotta understand. We're
It's
just
a
seeing
refreshing
buildings.
experience to be out in nature, though.
And Raleigh's a crazy
Yeah.
place because it's like you can drive 20 minutes and be in the middle of nowhere, and then you're downtown like
Yeah.
that fast. Like you can literally go from like old Silverados to watching Bentleys go by in 20 minutes. It's crazy.
Yeah. When I went to Fuquay with you, it was like very interesting. It's like a small town but just big at the same time.
Yeah.
I don't even know how else to describe it.
It's like suburban, but not
It's,
the way you would think it
interesting.
is.
Yeah.
It's interesting. Fuquay is a really good small town to live in.
It is very
Great
cool.
place to grow up kids and great area, great schools.
Good people, man. They will.
Great athletes.
That's the thing about
Across the
Fuquay.
board.
Like they're very supportive about their own that come out of there. Like, TG and I got so much support
yeah.
coming out of there, growing up there. The community, that Strong Center community, was such a good place to grow up.
Yeah,
in our
growing
own.
up in Fuquay and then going to Holly Springs High was a big transition for me. I made a lot of different friends, but I still kept my Fuquay friends and kept in touch with them all the time. So that was good.
Yeah, we need to get Peterson on the pod.
Yeah, man. Shout out Coach Pearson, man. I wouldn't be here today if it wasn't for him. So
I'll tag him or something. We need to get him on the pod. We need like call-ins or something.
I can
And
make
get
that happen
him
easily.
and
You
get
know
him
I
on
can.
here. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Y'all are
Yeah,
boys like
Coach
that.
P. Yeah, he's it's like my second dad, honestly. at a certain point. Yeah, man.
Something interesting dynamic we have here. Cody was my roommate freshman year, and then Julian is my current roommate. And then I spent a lot of time in Tyler's room hanging out freshman year, so I feel like and I spent a lot of time at Tyler's house still, but I feel like I'm just here with a bunch of my dang roommates all at once on this pod, so that's pretty cool.
It's kind of a good brotherhood we have going on.
For sure.
Like-
It's good brotherhood, man.
Absolutely.
I've been trying to start this podcast for a while. I had one in high school, and I've always kind of wanted to do it again. And I stopped doing the old one when I got into college because I was afraid it would be a conflict of interest, and I didn't know how the NIL rules worked at the time, and I didn't want to cross any boundaries that I wasn't supposed to. But now I'm comfortable with that. I think it's fine, and I'm just happy to be back behind the mic because I really enjoyed it in high school and getting the guys to come in and having all the guests. It was just a lot of fun to do it, and I don't mind the editing and stuff like that. But I was just sitting around. I got blessed with the opportunity to do this and got some equipment, and I wasn't gonna do it. And then it was like 2 a.m. This was last week, and I couldn't sleep. It was like 2 a.m. and I feel like God really like laid it on my heart, and it was kind of like this pressure thing, like you need to do it, like do it. And so I could not sleep. I just got out of bed and started designing logos and coming up with names and stuff like that. Y'all would not know how hard it is to come up with a name for a podcast because they're all taken.
I believe that.
Like there's so many mom and pop podcasts that are out there
Yeah.
that have every good name, and so I finally ended up with this, and I couldn't find anybody else that had it, and I was like, like my kind of idea behind the brand is that everybody needs a little bit more something, whether it's a little bit more love, a little bit more Jesus, a little bit more faith, a little bit more trust. Like everybody needs a little bit more something in their life. I feel like we as a whole, like everybody's blessed in their own individual way, but at the same time, we all can use a little bit more something. And not to make it sound like it's a greed thing or anything like that. It's just natural human nature, and that we can all use a little bit of help here and there. Because that's really what this podcast is about. It's just kind of like sharing our testimonies and our stories and getting people involved and just having like an overall positive environment. I think so many podcasts now are so negative, and they have people going down the wrong path, and that's not something that I want to have on my show. I want it to be positive. I want it to be inspiring, and I want people to feel like they gain something from listening. Just even whether it's just a laugh or they get inspired to do something or whatever it may be. I don't know, but just something valuable that they can gain from it. And so that's kind of my mindset behind it. But what do y'all have to add? Anything?
Yeah, I mean, for sure. Just, kind of like we're just sitting here having normal conversations we'd have any other day. But, yeah, going back to, like, needing a little bit more of something, it says you're supposed to, like, pour into one another as brothers and stuff. So, I mean, we kind of do that already, but just doing it on the pod.
Absolutely. Friends rub off on each other. Shoot.
Yeah.
For positive
Agreed.
or for negative.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I'm really excited about getting some guests in. It'll be cool. It'll be fun. Any story? Y'all got any stories?
I think we should save those.
We'll save them. This is really like, I know this pod is not as exciting as what they're going to be. This is very much an internal, but we kind of have to like start off somewhere. So kind of bear with us on this one. But
It's a little intro.
It's a little intro. It's an
Yeah.
intro.
Yeah,
It's an intro to
absolutely.
the album. That's all it is.
We'll be back. Don't worry.
I already have guests lined up to come on, and I'm really, really excited about a lot of these guys coming on. Sports guys, rappers, got some guys lined up. I'm really, really excited about those. So, it's gonna be fun. It's gonna be good, and it's not gonna be all of us on the pod every single time. We're gonna rotate hosts, so I'm pretty sure I'll be on, if not all of them, most of them, just because I'm kind of the management behind the podcast. I'm kind of the figurehead, but at the same time, we'll have guys come and go, and I don't want anybody to think that, if somebody's not on it 1 week, there's an issue. It's just the way kind of things go and the way we want to be flexible and to not get burnt out of it and stuff like that. So that's the reason. But
absolutely, this college living sure is unpredictable at times.
For sure.
Unpredictable, very unpredictable when you're a college student athlete.
Such as we have a test tomorrow until we don't, and then we've got 5 extra days of study.
Yeah.
Yep.
I do have a test tomorrow. I do not have 5 extra days to study.
Gotta keep your knees bent, as Coach Hester would say.
dude, I went to class the other morning, and I got halfway there, and it just got canceled. And then there's an email sitting in my inbox from like 3 a.m. that I didn't see.
Yeah.
And I'm like, bro, what are y'all doing up at 3 a.m.?
That happened
for
to me
this?
this
Hey, we all have
morning,
those
too.
moments when you show up to the classroom and there's no one in there, and you're like, well, yep. That's it.
That happened to me this morning. I showed up to an empty classroom, and I was like, dang, the one time I'm on time. Shoot. And I missed the memo.
We got to give the people something. Talk about J.H. Rose coming out of the 252. Like, I feel like the 252 is like really on a rise lately.
Yeah, oh yeah.
Like, you got guys like from NC State, like Traquavion Smith. He's a big deal, NBA guy.
Yeah.
I mean, you went to the same high school as Mr. Beast, right?
I did, yes. I did
That's
not
so
personally
crazy.
know him, but there's just a lot of different creative minds coming from the 252. There's also a lot of athletic people, coming out, making their rise and stuff like that. So.
Tell them about the story about Mr. Beast like giving away laptops or something.
Oh my God.
Oh, this is
This
good.
one, goodness, man. So during the COVID pandemic, we had A week, B week. So 1 week I'm in class, virtual learning. The next, I'm
Not.
I'm not there. So, well, it turns out I was A week, and on B week, Mr. Beast decides to show up, give everybody PS5s for $1,000, their choice. And so I was at home viewing that from social media.
Did you get your PS5 for $1,000?
No.
That's very
I know you open that Instagram live, you're like, dang,
Punch in air.
no way.
If only the letter of my last name was one letter later.
That's
Quite literally.
really tough.
Dang.
A through L was A week, and y'all know my last name's long.
Alright.
So.
It's so long.
Man. Yeah,
That's
I would
crazy.
have been heated.
Yeah, that's super tough. I'm not gonna lie.
Dude, I miss Tyler. I miss traveling like for 7-on-7.
Yeah.
That stuff was so much fun.
Yeah,
Like
I gained a lot of experience and became very humbled from 7-on-7. I'll tell you that. A lot of athletes coming out of that area, the Charlotte area, Mecklenburg, and playing against those guys. You'd have like a 5'7" D1 corner that was crazy athletic.
Yeah.
You just got just so many types of just athletes down there. They're just absolute dogs, and I'm very blessed and grateful to go against them and compete in that area. So.
dude, I think the biggest memory I have is it's my first game as an offensive coordinator for Framework. And I look over and the team we're playing the Carolina Stars in Charlotte. We're in Weddington. And Drake May is looking over at me.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, there is no way this is happening right now. But it was.
Mm-hmm. Towering over all of us.
Yeah.
And crazy athletic, crazy arm.
Yeah, this dude was
very
ridiculous.
smart football player.
This
as
dude
well.
was ridiculous, man.
Yeah, he's a baller.
Yeah, so Drake is just looking at me, and so I go. Everybody on that team is a D1 commit. There's Ohio State guys, just stacked, and we had guys on that team that went D1, but they
A few. Yeah.
we had a few guys, but a lot of guys went to play college football from that team, but nothing like how they were.
No.
And so he's throwing. I go over. I'm like, hey Drake, I'm Cody Wilburn. I'm a coach of Framework. Just want to introduce myself, say what's up, and. He's like, hey, man, like, what's going on, whatever. We dap it up, like, whatever, he's cool. And they get the ball. They win the coin toss, and they go out and get the ball first. They go down and score, like, the third play.
Yeah.
And
Cody
it was,
Cody goes back to the sideline like,
dude,
man, what am I going to call to make
they
this a game?
they sliced through our defense.
Yeah.
And I'm sitting there like, I got to step my game up, bro, because, this is my first game in. I got to figure something out. And so I'm running onto the field, and he runs off, and he goes, all right, let's see what you got, coach. And I was like, all right, now I really have to
Nah,
step it
yeah.
up. Like, now I'm on, like, the pressure's on.
You got a ball after
And
that.
then we lost, like, bad.
Yeah, we did lose pretty
we
bad.
we got smacked around, bro.
It was bad.
But that was so much fun.
I know you had a
such,
little emotional roller coaster going on in your head there, like
no,
We're
because
mismatched,
we
we're
put
the
up
plays,
we
you know.
put up points, I think, but we
did.
still lost.
we did.
And,
Will played a really good game that game too.
Will Mason,
plays corner
I need to
at
get
Butler
Will.
right now.
I need to get Will out on the pod. Will Mason, he's a corner at Butler. He is honestly one of the best DBs I've ever met in my entire life.
And one of the best I've gone against.
He is insane, absolutely insane. His brother plays on the team too, I think.
Mhm.
Yeah,
He plays DB.
because I think Will, like, week 1. I don't know who they were playing. Week 1, he got a pick as a true freshman starting.
I think the first drive they said.
Yeah, that's insane, absolutely insane. But good for him, man. I'm glad to see he's doing good. And
He's a really good guy too, man.
I'll tell y'all about a humbling moment that I had that motivated me a lot. I had just come out of 8th grade, so this is like the summer going into freshman year.
8th grade.
Yes, and I'm like, all right, I'm doing an EC football camp.
Yeah.
And, you know, everybody says I can't play safety, so I'm gonna go sign up as safety. I show up and I see the list of guys, and so for every grade level, there's a packet of just a list full of guys. And I look at rising freshmen, and it's like me and 5 other people at a camp of like over 1,000.
Yeah.
So I'm out there, you know, you can prepare for it all you want, but at the end of the day, you know, ladder drills, whatever, if you haven't experienced it full speed, you just haven't experienced it full speed. So, you know, we're out there working and whatever, and I'm like, man, I gotta, you know, I'm an 8th grader going into 9th grade, but, you know, I'm seeing what it takes, you know, I'm seeing like the kind of athleticism I need to be able to show. I get out here on a one-on-one, I'm 5 yards off. You can't even call it off man. You can't even call it press man. I don't even know what to call it. I shuffle back twice, and before I blink, the dude's 10 yards behind me. And I'm like, oh, and I just hear, ooh, in the crowd. And I'm like, oh, man. But you know what? That was a great experience because, you know, I got in contact with the DB's coach at the time at ECU. And you know, it was just a great experience overall. I got to see what the actual playing field was like, you know, and I got to see who I was actually going to be going up against. You know, if I wanted to be at the college level, and
For sure.
I got to get a marker for what I really wanted to meet one day.
Yeah.
You know,
I grew up, you know, being a Raleigh guy, like, big NC State fan my whole life. And so 8th grade, same thing, I had the opportunity. So I signed up, it was for one of their camps, and I'm the youngest kid at this camp by far. I think it's all juniors and seniors, maybe a few sophomores. But I was going into my freshman year in a few months. And so we're doing bag drills. I played center. And this was at the time where I had already gotten hurt, and I was trying to rehab to get back to be able to play my freshman year at Fuquay. And, you know, show goes on, I wouldn't end up getting to play. I couldn't get it back to where I could play, but I was trying. And I get put up against this kid that's like 6'6". He might have been one of those Leesville Road kids. I don't know. He was huge. And I just get tossed in front of their whole O-line staff. And it was such a humbling moment for me. I remember to this day, I get tossed, and Dwayne Ledford was their O-line coach at the time, who I think he's now the OC for the Atlanta Falcons, maybe? I might be right. Don't hold me to that. I don't know. But, yeah, he's like, he comes over and he's like, hey, man, like, let's swap you out. Like, you can go against, like, one of our GAs or something. And I'm like, thank you, because I don't need to be going with that.
Dude,
and
I
then
don't know. That's like...
It was bad. But then, like, fast forward, like, 45 minutes later, I get redeemed. They had some junior or senior they put me against, and I straight toss him.
Word.
Got tossed by an 8th grader. I mean, I was a big 8th grader, but still, he got tossed, and I redeemed myself, and it was fine after that. But, yeah, that was my humble
Coach Cody got a little work in too back in the day.
Dude, I was like, if I wouldn't have got, you know, like the dads are always like, oh, if I wouldn't have gotten hurt, I would have gone to the league, like whatever.
Yeah, oh yeah.
But I was pretty good. I wasn't bad.
Dude, it's so funny hearing y'all's stories about like going up against all these D1 guys, and I'm just like, from this little small town, just glad to be here. It's actually kind of funny. Me and Tyler were talking earlier one day about we were at the same camp at Guilford one day, and we obviously had no idea who each other was, but
Yeah.
we probably saw each other because I was there as a quarterback at the time, and he was a receiver, so I might have been throwing the ball to him and not even on it.
Yeah. I think we're on different fields, but
Probably.
you know, still there.
Yeah.
Still there. Small world.
Yeah.
That's crazy how kind of life throws you into things.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it really is.
That was
Like-
a long way for you to travel from your.
Yeah, it was. Fuquay to Greensboro was pretty far.
Yeah, that's like 30 minutes for
But,
me.
I mean, that's normal for people going to camps around here.
True that. True that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But anyways, sorry, we had to pause that and come back into it. Had something
I
happen.
took a little break ski there.
Yeah.
See what I mean? The ski, man.
He comes out of nowhere, really.
It really
Like,
does.
I don't know what he's on, but all right.
Anyways,
I don't even remember what we're talking about.
yeah, what were we talking about? You're talking about your coach, right?
We were talking about our experiences.
Yeah.
Experiences that
Yeah.
motivate us.
Football experiences.
We got any good like stories in general? We got to give the people something.
Bro, you need to tell the ghost stories.
Oh, we can go. We can roll into that.
Because Julian has one.
We can roll into that. All right, bet. Okay, so
For the record, I don't believe in ghosts.
Me neither. Yep.
For the
My-
record, both of y'all are wrong.
yeah, because I've had some stuff happen that can't be explained. So this would have been, I was in 8th grade. What year was that? Like 2016?
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So 2016, my grandparents owned multiple houses at one time, just because.
Big ballers.
Yeah, they are ballers, but they had multiple houses, and so
Shout out to Nana.
this wasn't Nana.
Oh,
Shout out to Nana, but this was not Nana.
word.
But so they gave us one of their houses to live in. They gave us one of their houses to live in for a little bit, and because we decided to build our new house, not just buy like another house. And this lady this house was in a It's in a neighborhood in Fuquay that's primarily elderly people, and which makes sense considering they owned it. But there was a lady that died. The previous owner died in the house, and my dad knew and did not tell any of us because he didn't want us to trip out, right? So it started off with like subtle things, like I would come home from school and would hear like footsteps out in the hallways and stuff like that. And at that time, like I didn't really think, I thought the house was just like creak and stuff, but it wasn't that. Like it was, like whatever. And so that would happen, and then I would shower, and I'd get out of the shower, and on the mirror there would be handprints like all over like fresh handprints all over the mirror.
What?
Yeah. And so stuff like that would happen. And so then it gets worse and worse over time. Like weirder stuff starts happening. The weirdest thing that happened with me was I was in my bed. My brother and I were sharing a room. And so I'm in my bed. And it's maybe midnight or so. And he's asleep. And I usually sleep with the fan on. I'm a big fan guy at nighttime with sleep.
You gotta sleep with the fan on.
And so, but this night I didn't have the fan on for like whatever reason. I don't know why. And so I'm laying there and I feel like something's watching me. And I remember just being this like 14-year-old kid. I was so scared. And all of a sudden it's just like over my face. I feel something blow on my face. And I'm just clenched my eyes and was tripping out. And didn't know what to do. And I fell asleep after that. And it was the craziest thing. So I think my parents probably had like the weirder thing happen. So they were in the master bedroom, and they heard, it was like a Saturday morning, and they heard footsteps come up to the door and saw and heard the doorbell. I mean, not the doorbell, the door handle, like it jiggled. And my parents were like, oh, like it must be the kids, like they're up, like we need to like probably get up, like whatever. And my dad got up and walked to like check on us, and me and my brother were both fast asleep, still in our bed.
Y'all got a hobo living in y'all's house.
For real. Like, what's that movie Julian had us watch?
I see you.
I See You. Yeah, y'all need to check that out. That's kind of
Yeah.
that's a trippy movie.
It's kind of weird.
It's like these people like move in a house and like they don't. Yeah. Anyways, so that happened, and like we had like one of those washing machines that has the heavy door, like the old fashioned ones that has like the heavy door on it.
Mm-hmm.
That thing just flung open one day. Like weird stuff like that happened, and yeah. So we got out of that house like after our new house got built. We dipped out of the house, and I have never gone back. But
I can tell you a little bit about my personal ghost experience. So this all happened within like a couple months. So we decided it's time to move. You know, we need to upsize. Family of 5. You know, and so our house at the time, it was built in the 70s. So you know, this is a house that could very well have history behind it. Very obscure history because we knew nothing.
Is this your house now?
No,
Oh.
this is the previous house before I moved out. So we kind of decide we're gonna move, and there's a couple months sprinkled in there, beforehand, obviously, in between finding a house and all that, So to start, one night I'm asleep and I wake up and I hear kind of creaking of the floor, and it moves down the stairs. And this house, it was old, it wasn't made nowadays where there's essentially the sound securing systems were just not up to date. So I hear that, I'm not one to really sketch about things, so I just went to sleep.
Mr. Nonchalant.
I've seen too many like Ghost Hunter episodes, bro. To be honest.
Well, I'm that person. I'll address it. I'll think about it, but I'll be like, you know what? Let me just go to sleep. Like, this, whatever this thing could be, it hasn't killed me in however years I've been here. So, you know what? I'll just go to sleep one more night. Well, I didn't think of anything of it until my mom goes, "Are you coming downstairs at night?" And I'm like, "No." Like, why would I be coming downstairs? And she's like, "Well, I'm hearing footsteps like on their way down the stairs." So that kind of brought a little bit of validity to, what I experienced, if that makes sense. Fast forward like a week or two, and for the record, I don't sleepwalk. I do not sleepwalk. This one night, I randomly wake up on the couch. Just randomly, like, and this is all happening within like 2 months. I just wake up on the couch. I have no recollection of getting there. I'm just on the couch.
Really?
And I go to my parents and I go, "Why am I on the couch? Like, I remember going to my room and going to sleep. Why on earth am I on the couch?" They're like, "You didn't like come downstairs and just fall asleep on the couch?" I'm like, I wouldn't be asking you that if it was that case. So that's another, tally in the supernatural direction. The last one is kind of the most blatant. So my mom picks me up from school. This is freshman year of high school. That was kind of when we were, this late freshman year, And she's like, "Yeah, Maria and Madison, they rode their bikes to your dad's office because something spooked them so bad that they like left the house." And that's not like my sisters either. They don't do like crazy stuff like that.
Yeah.
And I was like, "Oh yeah, let me ride bikes to." Now, to be fair, the office is kind of like to the other side of the neighborhood. So if you ride at the far side of the neighborhood, you will get there. And I'm like, "Okay." And I'm like, "Well, shoot, whatever it is, we're going to find out." So there's this old Christmas toy, and this Christmas toy has not worked in 7 years. I don't know why we still had it. One of those pieces of junk that ends up in the attic.
It's like
or
battery operated or something, or
under somebody's bed. It doesn't work. It hasn't worked in 7+ years.
yeah.
All of a sudden, it's blaring the sound that it used to make. And I'm like, we make our way upstairs, and we're like, "What is that little noise?" And I'm like, "It's that old Christmas toy from when I was like 10 years old, and it hasn't worked since. Like, what's going on?" So we're in my room kind of examining this because we were not going to go into that room specifically. We were just going to barge into that room. Like, at that point, we were kind of like believing what we saw.
Yeah.
Or not what we saw, what we heard and experienced.
All right, I've had enough. I'm good.
Exactly. So, my mom makes her way down the stairs because we're like, "All right, we're just gonna wait till Dad gets home. He'll go see what it is." We already knew what it was, but he'll I was at that age where Dad comes home, everything's good.
Yeah.
Kind
Yeah.
of deal, So my mom runs down the stairs, and I remember I was like, "Okay, as she runs, I'm gonna look into that room." Like as she runs, and then I'm gonna just take a quick 3-second peek.
Oh no. Oh
And I'm
no.
gonna jog behind her.
Oh no.
And I swear to God, in the room. So this isn't my mom's shadow she generated from moving. This is like
Separate.
this is the far wall of that room, and
Yeah.
the light is on in that room. So nothing from outside that room is going to generate
Can
a shadow
cast a
against
shadow.
the wall.
Yeah.
And I swear, a shadow figure moves through the room.
Whoa.
And I about sent my mom to the ER. That's all I'm gonna say about that. Dad got home, he's like, "Hey, it's this toy, whatever, blah, blah." And I'm like, "Yeah, but Dad, it hasn't worked in a long time."
Honey, pack the car, get the kids. We're leaving.
Dad, I've been the bored 10-year-old who's sad that this toy won't work. Like, and then all of a sudden it just works 7 years later.
Not for real.
We didn't really like. I mean, we'd already decided to move, so we didn't really have time to, find out what it was. We just moved and went on. But I will say, like,
3 years later, The Shining came out.
You take the toy with you?
goodness no.
Where'd it go?
The trash, man. We made some bins of toys and stuff like that. A bunch of shit
That was the first thing.
Exactly. I will say though, like, we might have had. So how there's the idea of like you move in somewhere and something doesn't want you there.
Yeah.
So it's like doing shit to spook you to make you leave.
Yeah.
Honestly, I think this was a reverse case. I think
They wanted you to stay.
I think the spirit enjoyed us being there, genuinely. Because I'll say this, it only happened right when we were about to move, right when it was a thing amongst the family that we are moving, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Neighbors come in, or they move in behind us, the people that move in behind us.
Yeah.
All I gotta say is, in a year and a half, they were gone too.
Or they.
Yeah.
Wow.
And this is a new couple. New couples don't do that.
No.
New couples don't move in somewhere and just slide,
You want to settle
Right
down
now.
thing.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's the mindset they're in, is finding a place and staying there. So, once again, I can't prove, like, particularly anything, but I do know what I saw I cannot explain. So
That's crazy.
That is wild.
You know what? This
a little ghost story.
this thought that just kind of came to me. You know who'd be like an awesome person to have on the podcast?
Who?
My dad, bro.
Roy.
Dude, my dad is like one of the story-wise, has the most insane stories that anybody ever met.
He could have his own podcast.
Dude, for real.
Well, yeah, used to be a cop, right?
He is.
Yeah.
He still is.
Yeah. And so he has like all these ghost stories, like just all these things he's done and seen. They were working. This one story he told me, it was like the craziest thing. So they were doing some kind of like training activity at like some abandoned hospital, or it was like a hospital. It was, or a mental I don't want to say an asylum. It wasn't an asylum. It was like a
institute?
yeah, like maybe like I don't know if it was like a rehab center or what it was, something like that. But it was like fully functioning. Like they had like rooms, like the people lived there or whatever. And so I guess kind of like an asylum, but not really. And they were doing their training activities in there and doing whatever they do. And they were about to do this activity, and there was a kitchen area. And so my dad like walked down the hallway, and there's this guy that they didn't know. He wasn't with the people that worked. He didn't know who he was, and he was like, "Hey, bro, like we're about to come through and do our thing. Like we're in the kitchen." And the dude, I don't think said anything to him. He just kind of walked out. And so my dad comes out and he asked the guy in charge. He's like, "Hey, who was the guy back in the kitchen?" He's like, "What do you mean?" He's like, "There's a man back in the kitchen." And he's like, "Oh, you mean like Fred or George, whatever the guy's name was." He's like, "Oh, you mean George?" And he's like, "What about him?" And he's like, "Nah, you don't oh, you saw George." And he's like, "Who is George?" And he's like, "George used to live here back in the 70s, and he was a cook, and he hung himself in the kitchen. And so now periodically people will see him in the kitchen." And
Oh man.
yeah, and
Oh,
so he
man.
was like, so he saw him, and I think this was the same place they were doing it, and a wheelchair came rolling down the hallway. There was nobody there. Like wheelchair came rolling down.
No, sir.
He was like, "I'm done. I'm out. That's it. I'm good. Like that's it." But
No Sirski.
so
No, Sirski.
we got somebody coming.
Emotionally charged.
But yeah, yeah, that's kind of what happened. We're gonna have more stuff like that. We're not gonna spoil the good stuff for the first episode. We kind of have to have a build up here. But we're 30 something minutes in. So if y'all want to go ahead and wrap it up, it's been fun.
Yeah.
For sure.
Absolutely, it's been fun.
I want to try to
introduce ourselves to the world. Shoot.
yeah. I really want to try and push these things out. If we can get one every like 10 days,
Okay.
that would be awesome. We got to be consistent with it. But yeah, this has been a little bit more podcast with Cody Wilburn, Julian Long, Avery Garner, and Tyler Griffin.
Yes, Sirski.
Been a good first episode. Thank y'all so much for listening. If you could help us out, tag your friends, tag your grandma, tag your brother, tag your mom, somebody, tag your dad. Repost it. Help us get the word out about the pod. We'd really, really appreciate it. We work really hard on this stuff and trying to schedule our lives so we can do this. And we just enjoy making content for y'all. So if you can help us out and show some love, that'd be great. But Julian's doing some card tricks right now, so I guess that's time for us to wrap it up. So thank you. We'll see you on the next one.